What's up, guys? Barry Gaming here, back with some more Idle Heroes, and today we have a little clip from our live stream, our first kind of initial impression of the hero. One of the things that really stood out was one of his sublimations on his active skill, and it turns out it works on every enemy on the battlefield, not just the front row that he is going to be hitting, and that is the taunt effect. We don't have a ton of taunt effects in game right now, and this one could be really huge. So hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Let's jump right into it. Okay, so let's take a look. Here's something I don't normally do. We're gonna enable sound. We're gonna go into here. You guys hear all the clicks, right? The click, 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 click. This is the hero. Let's hear the audio lines for all of us. Hands up in chat. Who doesn't actually play with audio? I don't. I don't at all. Let's hear the voice line.
Don't be afraid. He just has a creepy look. He won't harm you.
Okay, it's not that bad.
Don't be afraid. He just has a creepy look. He won't harm you. You mean this giant can form an army in ancient times? That's horrifying. You mean this giant can form an army? Don't be afraid. Boom! Explosion is the true art. Don't be afraid. You mean this giant? You mean this? Boom! Don't be afraid. He just has.
It's not bad. We've heard some bad ones. We've definitely heard some bad ones. I do need to swap over though to this server so we can actually take a look. His name is Cupcake. Wait, what? Did I miss something? Cupcake? What? Yeah, they have voice lines, guys. You might have never known that was a thing. Let's take a look at sublimations, okay? So, the active skill deals damage to frontline enemies, extra damage equal to 30% of the target's max HP. Wow. Stealing 40% armor. Afterwards, they have the two things here. Let's see what they do. Increases all damage dealt. Has a 75% chance to taunt each enemy respectively. I don't know if that means the frontline heroes that get hit, but another way to taunt heroes I feel like is pretty good. When inflicting Judgment of Fury, increases the target's burn damage. Ooh, that's interesting. When inflicting Judgment of Iciness, reduces the target's all damage dealt. Wow! That's pretty big. So even if they break out, it lowers their all damage dealt. That is a huge survivability boost. So this one here, that looks all the same. Afterward, increases self all damage reduction by 20% and 60% chance to taunt each enemy respectively here as well. It only hits one random enemy. Why is this? Why do they do stuff like this? I hate when it's just like one target. Restores HP, and when taunting enemies, grant self 12% control immunity offset. Huh. Okay. We'll take it. Heals for this one. 80% chance to gain only 10 energy. That's eh. When an enemy's Judgment of Fury comes into effect, increases self-attack. That's pretty cool. When an enemy's Judgment of Iciness comes into effect, increases speed by 10. That's not very huge. These aren't feeling very impactful, are they? So let's read this one in full, though. This is the big one right here. The design is cool. When taking damage from active or base attacks, reduces the cooldown of all judgments out on the attacker by 1 and launches 1 counterattack to all enemies. So that's where his damage is going to come from. When he gets hit, I think he counterattacks even if there isn't a judgment. For every one judgment on the target deals damage. When self dies, he does 6,000% damage to all surviving enemies, split divided by the number of them, and burns them with a 40% chance to freeze them. Okay, that's all pretty cool. God, look how long that is. Let's take a look and see what it gets modified as. Reduces the target's armor. Okay. There's a 40% chance to inflict 1 random non-owned judgment with a countdown of 3 on the attacker. Just reading his skills, he's not sounding ridiculously strong, to be honest. Even at level 8, when Judgment of Fury comes into effect, grants 2 allies with the lowest HP shield equal to 24% of his max HP. Wow. For the target who triggers the Judgment, reduces their effect of being healed by 90%. That's kind of big too. When Judgment of Iciness comes into effect, it reduces 80 speed for the enemy who triggers it, and a 40% chance to increase 10 energy for the ally with the highest attack. I mean, definitely doesn't compare to Betty. So that's interesting, but that's not all we have to look at. We now need to look at transition skills as well. When self has 12 layers of transition power, consumes 12 to deal 2000% damage to all enemies and the 50% chance to inflict other kind of judgment on the targets with only one judgment. So if this has to sound like it has to have a judgment in order to inflict the other judgment, is what it sounds like. Yep, that's the same as always. Increases frontline block and armor. Grants frontline shields. We've seen that. Removes debuff. Okay. Increases attack of ally with the highest. Additionally, increases all frontline allies' control immunity. Additionally, reduces speed. This is like a purely support hero, it feels like. For the target with judgment others, additionally reduces their control immunity. Additionally, increases the target's burn damage. He's very much burn oriented. Additionally, increases self energy by 50. That's pretty big. All damage dealt, control precision, blah, blah, blah. And the big one is when self has 12 layers of transition power, consumes 12 of them and deals the same 2000% damage and a 50% chance to inflict the other kind of judgment on the target. Afterward, reduces the countdown of all judgments on the target by 1. If there's no judgment on the target, there's a 33%. Yeah, I don't know, guys. He sounds a little lacking compared to having Betty, but then again, Betty's literally one of the best Transcendence heroes that we have ever seen. Good lord. I don't know. The fact that it's active skill, it really depends on how this deep sublimation works on his active. There's a 75% chance to taunt each enemy respectively. My guess is it's talking about just the frontline enemies that get hit. This is weird. It's our first warrior hero that's not a pure damage dealer. He's very much a debuffer, right? Like everything he does either increases damage, like targets burn damage, reduces their all damage dealt, heals himself, control immunity, increases self attack, reduces enemy speed. What do you guys think? First impressions. It's because he's an Abyss hero. I didn't even think about that. We haven't had a good Abyss hero in forever. Yeah, first impressions, just by looking at his skill set, I'm not impressed. 1280 is also nowhere near the high speeds. It's actually some of the lowest speeds you'll see on a Transcendence hero. This is interesting. I don't know. It could be good, it could be bad.